point, I'm really excited to introduce our two speakers for tonight. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Kujaatele Kweli. And Mr. Kweli is the Chief Strategic Officer for Greenlight, a business, money, and wealth coaching service. He's more affectionately known as Kuj. As chairman and chief instructor, he designed and built the digital media arts program for Orlando Tech College. He has built and headed several multi-million-dollar companies in education, entertainment, digital media production, and personal empowerment fields. With over 35 years of experience in all aspects of media education, Kuj has produced over 1,000 media products, including TV commercials, award-winning instructional, corporate, and promotional videos. He has also built 6 TV studios. He adds to his impressive resume, having trained thousands of top executives in youth leadership, management, human relationship, technical, and personal empowerment skills. He has advised and served as a consult and expert witness to 6 presidents, the White House Domestic Council, numerous White House conferences, the Federal Communications Commission, the FDA, Congress, and the Congressional Black Caucus. His next self-empowerment book is coming out on Amazon in October, and it's called Why Not Me? By Billy Jones, as told by Kuj. What every young person and parent should know about modeling, fashion, and the beauty industry. So, please join me in welcoming the empowerment coach, the educator, the digital media producer, the director, the writer, the TV host, and the master of ceremonies, Kuj. So next, it is my honor to introduce Dane Cash, the chairman and founder of Greenlight and its related companies. As a result of years of lessons learned, the best practices, and thousands of crumbs of wisdom he derived from his interactions with ultra-high net worth individuals, enormously successful entrepreneurs, and numerous seasoned business owners, he developed a proven approach and philosophy for languaging how to achieve exceptional financial trajectory. The success formula shakes up the traditional entrepreneurial rites of passage by rewarding even ordinary people with substantial financial results after only a modest investment by them in time and money. Now, years later, he considers his current efforts and activities more of a ministry, where he focuses on changing the way that people view the real value of business and creating complete financial freedom and personal wealth. And much of this is accomplished by helping enhance their overall mindset, perspective, and relationship with money. So it is my pleasure to welcome the seasoned serial entrepreneur, the accredited private investor, coach, author, and philanthropist with over 25 years of experience and success, Mr. Dane Cash.
Welcome to the Dane Cash Show. My name is Kuj, and our featured guest is, of course, Dane Cash, who has over 25 years of experience and successfully himself and coaching other people to have a more productive relationship with their business, their money, and creating wealth. Welcome, Terrence.
Thank you very much, Kuj. My pleasure to be here.
Now, the first question I'm going to ask you relates to a myth. Most people want to make more money and become wealthy. And they think the key to making more money and becoming wealthy is to make more money. You disagree with that.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yes, Kuj, great question. You have to understand that financial independence and freedom is a trajectory. It's based on momentum. And the first most important element in that momentum is the short distance between the left and the right ear. 3.5 inches. People need to improve their mindset, They want a much more enlightened mindset. They need to have a much more holistic perspective and a much more productive relationship with money. So wealth creation has little to nothing to do with how much money you have or how much money you make. It's all about your mindset, perspective, and relationship with money.
Now, we're having this seminar in relationship to a hairstyling convention. And you've also used the term business lifestyle as one of your unique products. What is the business lifestyle concept?
Okay.
As business?
Another good question, Kuj. As you know, our proprietary success formula called No Personal Gain was based on thousands of significant interactions with high net worth individuals, millionaires, multimillionaires, mega millionaires, and at least 2 billionaires. So this is the accumulated, hidden, and secret knowledge of the rich. And so one of the first things that happens in terms of creating wealth is you have to protect and keep what you already have. And the first step in protecting and keeping what you already have is we have to make sure your personal financial trajectory is lining up well. So we have a special vocabulary at Greenlight. We have a very special set of metaphors and anecdotes. And one of our constructs, which mimics what the rich do, but prorated for where you are as an aspiring wealth creator, is we've created the new lifestyle business. One of the first things the rich taught me, Kuj, is that there are two types of business in the world. You have your primary revenue producing businesses. Those are businesses like Walmart, Macy's, and McDonald's. And then you have the businesses they don't like to talk about at Hakatre. And we call that business a new lifestyle business. The rich are able to effectively run their life as a business through those companies, enabling them to, among other things, get better protection from legal liabilities, protect their assets, and also to pay the minimum legal tax.
You have invented a proprietary product called lifestyle business. What does that mean?
Well, Kuj, as you're probably already aware, one of the first steps or stages in creating wealth is to protect and keep what you already have. So whatever you find yourself in terms of your financial trajectory, you have to protect it and keep it first, then leverage it and parlay it. One of the things that the rich do is they have these secondary businesses that they don't like to talk about at cocktail parties. We call those businesses at Greenlight new lifestyle businesses. And so a new lifestyle business affords the rich the following 4 major benefits. Number 1, they can finance and fund their personal lives in a manner never before possible. That means many, if not most, if not all of the things that they used to consider to be personal have been transformed into legitimate business expenses. Number 2, they're able to protect themselves from personal legal liability and protect their assets from creditors and/or frivolous lawsuits. 3, they can get better gains, yields, or upsides in any investments they have under a new lifestyle structured format. Last but not least, we always like to mention it last, Kuj, as you know, clients like to talk about it first. They get the opportunity, like the rich, to pay the minimum legal tax. Those 4 major benefits and outcomes we call running your life as a business.
Now, we're holding this particular seminar in conjunction with one of the largest hairstyling and barbershop and beauty and fashion conventions in the industry. What about that industry, businesses in that industry, makes it conducive to your construct?
Well, first and foremost, many of the people in the beauty, nail, and even fashion businesses are underperforming and struggling businesses. They're undercapitalized, and I think the statistics show that they fail at even slightly higher rates than other industries. So most of the times, people in those industries don't look at their particular professions or crafts as a business. They pretty much run it as a glorified hobby or a hustle. And so as a result, their financial outcomes reflect that. So they're not in the right structure, they're not employing the right strategies, and they're not executing the right tactics to get to the next step in their financial trajectories. Code 4, they continually take themselves out of the line of money.
Now, when you talk about the line of money, one of the things that most entrepreneurs complain about is credit. Also, a lot of entrepreneurs, their parents told them, stay away from credit. Can you resolve that conflict between the advice that most of us have from our parents and what apparently most businesses are using and how they're using credit to become successful?
Yeah, that's right, Kuj. Most of us were taught from our parents, and it's not necessarily a wrong answer. I mean, in life and business, there's always 3 answers, right? There's the wrong answer, well, we don't want those. There's the right answer, which are what our parents taught us, and then there's the answer you really want, which we call the really right answer. And you only get the really right answer from your friends at Greenlight and Terrence Cash within a coaching relationship. But the whole function of credit is foundational. You cannot borrow money without having credit, whether you have good credit character personally or that your business has a good credit rating. So that's number 1. The rich employ leverage. That means borrowing to invest. They're not going burning down some mall somewhere, Kuj. So we're not talking about consumption, we're not talking about being a consumer, we're not talking about personal expenditures, we're talking about investments in the business that are primarily funded by debt. That's what most rich people do. Even if, and especially if they have the money. You know, they say men lie, women lie, but facts, figures, and results never lie. So let's talk about facts. Fact, Microsoft has about $150 billion with a B in cash reserves and equivalents in the bank. Fact, why is it they borrow over $400 million a day? Because they know something that most people don't know, that the strategic and productive use of commercial debt, not personal, not consumer debt, but commercial debt is eye-opening, it's nirvana, it's magical. And so what we advise our clients at Greenlight, if they're not comfortable with 100% leverage, which I'm certainly more than comfortable with, certainly no more than 20 or 30% equity, meaning their own money, we want invested in products, so or projects or their business. So if someone has $500,000 sitting in the bank, I don't want them using more than 100 or 150,000, 20 or 30% of that for any one project. You know, the banks are the lending business, and their model has been around for thousands of years. If you borrow $200,000 from the bank and you're able to parlay that into a multi-million-dollar business, A, the bank doesn't want a piece of your business. B, the bank won't make a single decision or want to be your partner. C, they don't want any dividends or profits. They just want their money back with a little bit of interest. And right now, interest rates are historically low, so you'd have to be crazy not to borrow money from the bank.
Okay, what I'd like to do at this point is take advantage of the expertise we have in the office, in the studio, I should say, in order to get some of your questions answered. Let's begin with our host, Rhonda. Could you step up, Rhonda? And in each case, I'm going to ask anybody that has a question, raise their hand. I'll call you up. I want you to identify yourself and then turn and answer your question to Terrence. First, identify yourself to the camera.
Sure. So my name is Rhonda Williams, and I am the founder of Greenlight Enterprises, as well as Spoiled Naturally Natural Bath and Body Products. And I'm really excited to be here and to be your host today, but I'm also really interested in, I'm in a position right now where I really want to expand my natural bath and body product line and position us, and specifically for our international growth. And I'm not quite sure what strategy I should use for that, and even really where I should begin.
Well, great question, Rhonda, and many people in your industry have the same issue. First and foremost, you have to always consider that in order to get to the next rung, you're talking about momentum and financial trajectory. So for a rocket to go into outer space, it first has to get 1 foot off the ground. Then 10, 100 feet, 1,000 feet, then a couple miles, then it's in orbit. So you have to connect the dots. First thing you have to be, again, structure, strategy, and tactics. First thing you have to be in the right structure. You have to be in the right legal structure, and you have to be also in the right tax treatment. Because again, in business, there's really only 2 things, Rhonda, that you have to maneuver, simplistically put. You have to be able to consistently seize opportunities, and you have to be able to consistently fend off threats. If you can consistently seize opportunities and consistently fend off threats, you'll be in business indefinitely and very successfully and very profitably. So you got to get 1 foot off the ground. So one of the first thing is you have to get in the line of money. So let's assume you're in the right structure, legal structure and tax treatment. That's so that you don't have any threats from the tax authorities. You're paying the minimum legal tax, you personally and at the corporate level for your business. So that's number 1. Because if you make all this money and you just hand 50% of it back to the tax authorities, what's the point about getting out of bed? So that's number 1. Number 2, in terms of international sales, you have to have a body of work to go international. When you're talking to different markets out of the US, typically you have to show some kind of track record in the US. Now, you don't have to be a household name necessarily, but you have to be able to show some kind of a track record. Because at the end of the day, who wants to be the first, right? No matter how great your product is. So no one wants to be the first. They want to say, okay, who have you done business with? What are your revenues like, etc. So you got to have referenceable accounts. And if you have accounts in the US, even if they're smaller, their international counterparts might take note. So that's number 1. Obviously, you got to be properly capitalized. Because if you're talking about international sales, you have to have sufficient capital stores to do the marketing, advertising. You've got to have feet on the street over there. You can't do this all over the internet and social media, even though, the prevailing wisdom would tell you otherwise. You have to have feet on the street over there. Probably you're going to have some kind of tangible retail presence, especially if you're looking to do international sales. So first and foremost, vet your product over here. Make sure you've gotten the major bugs out. Number 2, do your research. I mean, Coca-Cola has something like 160 different flavors. Coca-Cola in India tastes dramatically different than Coca-Cola in England. Coca-Cola in Asia tastes dramatically different than Coca-Cola in Australia. So you might have to alter and tailor and curate your product for individual tastes, because you're basically serving a marketplace, right? And then obviously you got to do your homework on who are the competitors over there. If you go into with a small business, basically they usually shine in what we call market spaces. Market spaces are kind of like the little gaps in between the shadows of the big guys. You don't want to go head to head against Walmart in their backyard, because you're going to lose, right? You don't want to go head to head against Sears or Macy's in their backyard. So you want to pick a market space that is underserved. Maybe you got a new spin on an old situation. And again, marketing, branding, etc. That's what you want. So that would be my top suggestions for you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Jonathan Count. Do you have a question for Terrence? Would you step over here on the mark?
On the mark.
And I would ask you to identify yourself, but let me just say that he was the first Chief Executive Officer, creator, founder of Essence Magazine, and has since gone on to do even more.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I had a real great experience in introducing people like Toni Morrison, Iman, Naomi Sanders, Naomi Campbell, some of the people that are the icons of this industry. I'm very, very pleased to have introduced them, and long before they were a household name.
Right.
And I think one of the things that really has stuck with me all throughout my life is that financial literacy and intelligence seems to have been intentionally a well-kept secret. I don't think that the fact that no one has ever provided the level of knowledge and insight that you provide, I don't think that that has been accidental. It seems to me that the syllabus of learning and understanding and comprehending and understanding how to apply financial management strategies and techniques is learned behavior, but nobody ever wants to teach us. And it seems as if you have made it personal dedication. This is not something that you have to do. You could continue your life and make money and live a wonderful life and be sumptuous and expansive as you can be, and none of us would have the benefit of you sharing your wealth and luxury. But you decided that you would go in another direction. What's the impetus for that?
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Great question. Just by way of reminder and review for the folks in the audience that aren't familiar with my background, I'm a seasoned serial entrepreneur of over 25 years, but it wasn't always so. My current venture, Greenlight, as Jonathan pointed out, is a pioneer and a leading provider of non-conventional business growth, leadership, and financing solutions for entrepreneurs and small business owners. Now, the genesis of that, Jonathan, as you know, go back 25 years ago. So 25 years ago, I had started a business in technology, started with my life savings at the time, which was about $44,000 for my 401k. I liquidated it. 6 months later, y'all, I had bills in arrears and no money left. And when you don't know any better, you can't do any better. And I languished and bumped along in that company, Jonathan, for about 7 years. But thankfully, through trial and error, success and failure, but mostly the mentorship I got from enormously successful entrepreneurs, millionaires, multimillionaires, mega millionaires, and a couple billionaires, they each gave me little crumbs of wisdom. They gave me pearls of knowledge, instruction, and insight, and I baked a cake with all those crumbs, and that business went on to do $30 million a year in annual revenue, and I cashed out 10 years ago to 8 figures. So you're right. I could be on a beach somewhere, having a Mai Tai and some scrumptious dishes. But that's not going to make the planet spin a little faster. That's not going to make the sun shine a little bit brighter. And particularly in communities of people who are black, brown, and beige, which is my mission and ministry, they would not benefit. So about halfway through my 4-year retirement, I said, first and foremost, how did I do that? And once I identified that I was subliminally and subconsciously executing these little crumbs and pearls of wisdom, Jonathan, then I said, okay, that's how I did it. So I wonder if it's able to be congealed into a success formula and languaged in a way that even ordinary people and entrepreneurs can understand and repeat. And so I went on a 3.5-year journey to do that, and we did it. That success formula is called No Personal Gain. So for me, it's all about literally changing the world, especially in our communities, certainly not exclusive to our communities. We have, rampant violence and high incarceration rates, and teen pregnancy and drug abuse and all the other things that go along with low economic status. So the whole idea here is, if a generation of people can now be enlightened in terms of their mindset, their perspective, and their relationship with money, then Jonathan, because you're a wealthy man, that the universe will conspire to produce large amounts of riches to your front door. So that's really the impetus. What gets me out of bed in the morning, what I'm passionate about, is helping people. That's what I've always been passionate about. And so in my current role as chairman of Greenlight, I get to do good and do well. I mean, Kuj always says that. So, it's not a non-for-profit.
Social capitalism.
Social capitalism, thank you, Jonathan. So we do good and we do well. And our message, as you know, has resonated with every audience. People who never believed that they could get on the road to financial freedom. I've had welfare mothers, scrape up the money to pay for our grassroots programs, and 2 years later they're buying investment properties, and they were in group homes. I've had young couples start, and every dime they had pretty much went to the wedding, and now they are leaving their jobs, retiring to businesses, and they're 27, 28 years old. So for me, it's all about seeing people experience the same level of success that I experience, or even greater, given their God-given talents and passions. So it is systemic. It is systematic. I don't believe it's racial. I think it's economic. And if you happen to be more of this color on the wrong side of that economic curve, then that's how it works. Because the people that look like many of the people in this room who are rich get the treatment just like the people on the other side. So I believe it's more economic than it is racial, but somebody's got to make a stand and say, okay, I'm going to share what I learned. It's being languaged in a format that's very palatable, very repeatable. People won't get intimidated by it. And we've got thousands of clients around the country, that would attest to that. So that's my main reason.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now we're going to open the questions up to the audience, and this is please, let's form a line right here, and I'll call you in. This is your chance, let me do a commercial, to talk to a man who gets paid $1,000 an hour just to give advice to some of our top wealthy people. So you get to do it for free. Who's next? Step up. Yeah, come around this way. First, look into this.
Oh, step on the X.
First come here. Look into the camera, tell us who you are, and then you can turn to a chance to ask any question.
Hi, my name is Javon, and I just want to ask a question. So what are you doing?
Oh, excuse me, and what you do?
Oh, I detail cars. That's all. Nothing major, but I just wondering what exactly are you doing to help prevent and help people achieve in life, in that particular area when you say economically. So what exactly is it that you do?
Okay. Great question, Javon. Well, one of the first things is I leave my very comfortable corporate residence in New Jersey. I get on an airplane first class, and we spend mid-5 figures to come down here to do free seminars. This weekend is what most people don't spend or make in a year. So it's all about getting you in a social environment and getting you to meet other people, first and foremost, that could benefit you, Javon. So that's number one. Number two, what we do once people become clients, they have a one-on-one mentorship and coaching relationship with me and the rest of the Greenlight coaching account team. So we're going to help you enlighten and enhance your mindset. We're going to help you broaden and really enhance your perspectives. And we're going to help you get a much more productive relationship with money. When that happens, when your mindset, perspective, and relationship happens, then the world of economic progress opens up for you. See, wealth creation, Yvonne, has little to nothing to do with money. And just to give you a couple examples of the truth of that, look at lottery winners, right? What, as a cliche, you go fast forward a few years after the lottery winner wins the prize, typically what happens to them? They go broke, right? They're broke. Or they got taxes in arrears, or they got all sorts of frivolous lawsuits coming at them. Look at professional athletes, even before they retire. Again, I said facts, figures, and results never lie. Let's talk about some facts. I don't know if you're an NBA basketball fan.
I wish.
Okay, so look, for you NBA basketball fans in the room, you might be watching the finals. Fact, the average NBA basketball player makes $5.15 million a year. That's a guy warming the bench. He's not starting. That's certainly not a superstar like LeBron James or Steph Curry or KD or any of those guys. $5.15 million. Fact, 70% of all NBA players are broke before they retire. And don't think for a second, guys, that they're burning down some malls. The NBA has spent millions of dollars in orientation and in training during the rookie camps to make sure that these guys properly manage their money. But if you don't have the right mindset, perspective, and relationship in money, it doesn't matter how much money you make. Look at popular recording artists. Look at major movie stars. So the way we attack it, since we have to change your mindset, perspective, and relationship with money, Javon, we have to mentor you. Okay? You can't do that out of a book. You know, you can't do that out of a CD. It has to be dynamic, interactive communication and conversation between you and the coach or you and the coaches to achieve that. So you said you're in the car business, right?
Yes, sir.
So in the car business, one of the things you got to be able to do is introduce buyers and sellers, right? So first and foremost, you have to have sufficient capital stores to be able to get the cars at auction or wherever you're getting them, and then you have to simultaneously be able to find clients for that. Now, usually probably people will say, well, look, if you find this model, this make, whatever, I'd be interested, and maybe this is how much I pay. And so you already got your little list, your short list when you go to the auction. You have to be able to get to the auction because there's certain licenses and certain lists you have to get on to get in. They don't just let anybody into the auction, okay? So, and we have a few clients in the car business that are doing very well. But
I just detail cars.
oh, you just detail cars, okay. So even in the after market, post-sale business of detailing cars, you know, you gotta have strategic relationships. It'd be nice if you have strategic relationships with the dealerships, you know, because they don't do that, right? So if the client says, look, I want extra pinstripes, I want this kind of accent, I want this on it, or a different stereo system in the car, you know, they can recommend you and your phone starts lighting up because the dealership is referring clients to you. Car brokers, another good contact of opportunity. So you want to have contacts of opportunity, contacts of influence, and referral sources to make your business go. But that's just the front end. You still got to be able, you know, to buy the electronic systems. You also got to be able to have staff to do certain things because if it's just you doing it, you can only make so much money, right? So you want to be able to hire people, you got to pay them, right? And you know, maybe now you're doing it kind of, you know, by going to the client's house, but at some point you're probably going to want to have a point of presence. You're going to want to have a location that clients can come to. They know that's where your detailing shop is, where your office is, and hopefully it's a high traffic area, and you know, you get business. So as a long circuitous path to your question, in order to change your mindset, perspective, and relationship with money, which is the only difference between you and anybody you admire or maybe even envy financially, you have to be mentored, you have to be coached. That's why the single greatest legacy a rich man gives his children is this kind of knowledge and wisdom.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Next. Please look into the camera and tell us what you do, and then turn to it and ask your question to us.
My name is Norman Russ, and I am a loss prevention agent at Ross Stores. I was wondering what advice would you have for a young adult such as myself entering the business world?
Okay, Norman. First and foremost, pursue your passion. Everybody tells me, or most of my clients tell me, well, Terrence, I want a business that makes money, so I'm going to get into the computer business like you used to do. I often and always ask them, is it your passion? If they say no, I said, then don't get into the computer business. Here's why, and Steve Jobs said it best. If you don't have passion for that business, then in the early months and years, which are usually the hardest, you just simply will give up. You just don't have enough to hold you together. If you got in there to make a lot of money, and the first few years you're not making a lot of money, and you don't have passion for it, there's nothing else keeping you in the game. So that's number one, pursue your passion. If you look around this room, Norman, everything in this room is making some company millions of dollars. Fancy chairs, glasses, tables, photographic equipment, you know, jewelry, audio equipment. Every one of those things, there are companies in that space that are making millions of dollars. So if you're chasing the money, you're gonna say, well, look, audio equipment makes a lot of money. Oh, okay, expensive watches, they make a lot of money. Oh, nice jewelry makes a lot of money. Okay, tables, glasses. So you be the fox that chases two rabbits, catching none. So you don't want to chase the money. Pursue your passion. What we do during a coaching relationship, Norman, we help marry your passion with something that places you in the line of money. So you'll never be a starving artist, just eating ramen noodles, right? As I told the audience, Cooch remembers this at the Citrus Club the last time I was in town. There are a lot of very innovative ways to make ramen noodles. And I'll share it with you if you want to hear it after the program, but I don't want you eating ramen noodles or missing meals. So pursue your passion first. Seek out a mentor. I think, the folks and the team we have at Greenlight are par excellence and top drawer. And now once you got a mentor and you know what your passion is, and if you don't, we help you find your passion. Now you can take the steps you need to do, get in the right structure, follow the right strategies, execute the right tactics to get on the road to financial freedom.
Thank you.
Okay, first,
Terrence, nice to meet you.
first, if you turn to the camera, just introduce yourself and your business, and
Absolutely.
then ask your question.
My name is Chef Brian David Robinson. I'm an actor, I am a chef, martial art master, and the top 1% business turnaround specialist in the United States. The question I have for you is something that I came up with not that long ago myself, that I worked through. That's by the way, I love all the things you're talking about. Turning around businesses, I've worked with limited brands like Lexner. I've done countless places, Disney, Sheraton, Westin, Omni, all of these. 100% success over 20 years. The question I have is a little something different for everybody else. I recently did, and I do film, television, everything. I do productions and stuff. But I came up with to help other people, nonprofit. Okay? Now I know the answer to this, but to help other people. But what is your answer? You got the same answer for people who are doing a startup for a nonprofit? Because I noticed that there's some variances and so forth. Because one being a startup, obviously, like you said, nobody wants to be the first. But how does somebody out there that wants to do it, I know how I went through it, but can you explain to them how they may attack that as far as going out there to help other people, to doing a nonprofit, and to become successful in that?
Yes. It's Chip. Brian. Thank you, Brian. Great question, Brian. I had the benefit and the fortune, Brian, to sit on the board of directors for 12 nonprofits back in the last 5 or 6 years of my technology services business. The most notable one is American Red Cross. So I chair the finance committee and a number of other committee chairs. So I'm very familiar with the not-for-profit business. And it is different. It's different from a financial accounting point of view, and it's different from, kind of an approach point of view, but the basics don't change. You got a service population, so that's essentially your product, right? And you're looking to do development, that's how the money comes in, and you gotta have a set of campaigns and agendas to make that happen. What I tell most not-for-profits is, one, you have to be really good with the fundamentals. A lot of not-for-profits, because it is God's work, they kind of keep the books loosey-goosey. They think that because they're doing good, they're automatically going to do well. Okay? And that's not necessarily, obviously, I wish it was, because there's some great not-for-profits. But not-for-profits fail with the same frequency as for-profit businesses. And I'd like to see if there's any major difference, but as far as I know, it's at least the frequency. It might be greater than the frequency, Brian. So first and foremost, one of the things I tell my executive directors, future executive directors, or not-for-profit leaders is, number one, don't think you're going to go in a not-for-profit and make a lot of money, personally. Right. Number one, the hardest thing to do in business is to take money out of a not-for-profit, right? The laws are set up so that you can't just get money from the public and then line your pockets. So they're very interested in seeing what car you drive and how much of a salary you're drawing, and if there's any soft money going around. So I tell the executive directors, aspiring, don't think you're gonna go into not-for-profit and make a lot of money. To me, you should already be financially secure when you go into not-for-profit, or you will be homeless. I'm being honest, you'll be homeless. And because most people that run not-for-profits are very passionate about the cause. And if you're not financially secure, you're just gonna sink the ship quicker than it would have sank. And I'm talking about your personal financial ship. And then of course the business is gonna suffer because now, you're hurting. A lot of not-for-profits don't know how to do development. They don't know how to raise money. I talked to a young lady the last time I was down here, Brian, and her and her husband went out to dinner with me and a key member of my team, and she was asking me many of the same questions. I said, well, tell me about your board. And she's telling me about the board, and it seemed like her board was more interested in telling her what to do and had her jumping through all the hoops. I said, okay, well, how much development are they doing? Development? I mean, how much are they putting in? My computer business put in hundreds of thousands of dollars a year into not-for-profits that I participated in, that was on the board of. That was a requirement. Okay, we picked you, it's a position of honor, but you're not gonna sit back with your hands behind your head and your feet up. How much money are you gonna put in? And they went to the board members first. So, you gotta use your board. You just can't pick your friends, put them on the board, and say, they have to be people that can help you from their expertise, lawyers, bankers, coaches, and then, you gotta hit your board up first. So that's number one. Number two, from all the not-for-profits I was on, and I was on hospice and palliative care, and American Red Cross, and a number of different type of service communities, consistently the number one fundraiser was golf outings. They made more money in one day from a golf outing than in 20 expensive chicken dinners. So they might make $50,000, $75,000, $100,000 net for the day because you got all your sponsors. So your golfers are paying $500 to $1,000, for a round of golf. Then you got your title sponsor paying $25, and your dinner sponsor paying $10, and this sponsor paying $5, the ball sponsor, the whole sponsor. And if you're creative, you've got 10, 15 sponsorships, where the minimum is $10,000, so you make 100 just on sponsorships. You got 200 people paying minimum $500 a pop. And then you got the raffles, the silent auctions. So a lot of not-for-profits don't know how to do development, and they kind of keep things, they don't have a good grasp of the fundamentals. So that would be my thing. Don't think you're gonna make a lot of money in a not-for-profit, because by and large you're not.
Absolutely.
Number two, pick a board that's gonna be productive and positive and forward-moving in terms of development from the board point of view, and then pick the right projects, pick the right campaigns, and establish the right strategic partnerships. I hope that helped out.
No, absolutely. You actually summed it up way better than I could. And I'm not beige, but I am actually Latino, so that's okay.
No, that's
I'm just messing.
Mucho gusto.